I told the Tahoe crew upon their return after prodigious drinking and expense accounting, as this company exists to just send these guys to the places where they want to go party, that I did not understand how and why it was that the guests that we got in Tahoe were guests we could have just called and had come on the show.
Right.
And they said, that's not true, Dan. We got special access, special things, and it wasn't just shouting from a distance at Justin Timberlake, good luck, boy. It was also that we got Andre Iguodala.
Yes.
And I'm like, but he works with Metal Lark. Like, he's not hard for us to get. But Stugotz said, but he was really good. He was excellent. He sat down, he turned it on, and he gave us content. And one of the bits of content, I guess, came from that interview is that he says that Rasheed Wallace in today's game would be better than Giannis Antetokounmpo, which seemed like a staggering, breathtaking, asinine thing to say.
We got aggregated for that. Well done, lads, for getting us some headlines.
I told you he was good. Listen, there's a thing about sitting down with someone in person and conducting an interview. And if I have to go to Lake Tahoe to do it, I'll be that guy.
You'll make that sacrifice for us?
Yes, I will.
Stugotz.
Yeah.
Real valor. And
I've asked for Iguodala before. We haven't gotten him on. So I figured, hey, got to fly out to Tahoe to get Iguodala on, and he was fantastic. And I'll tell you what, Chris Cody did a tremendous job as well. Mike Ryan was drunk, so me and Chris conducted the interview.
I had gotten after the pink drink, too. I was
Little 17th hole.
I was faking it.
Yeah.
Andre Iguodala, I am told by these guys, this conversation from Tahoe, they're promising me. I don't know if I trust their judgment. As I told you, they're trying to rip the drinks off and just pretend like they're working out there while golfing and then complaining. And because Stugotz yesterday, man, you should have heard him talking to Cody about how hard it was for him to just ship his golf clubs back and forth, and they just end up right in front of wherever it is that he lands. Like wherever it is, he might not be organized about how he gets to the interview with so-and-so that he set up, but he's damn organized about making sure his golf clubs end up wherever it is that he's at.
When I get to a course, regardless of where it is, my sticks are on a cart ready to go. Thanks to Ship Sticks. No, because I keep telling those guys, the last thing you want to, take through an airport is a bag of golf clubs. Now, Mike Ryan experienced
dead body
the equipment
also.
that Lewis had to bring
was
was worse.
point. Very good point.
The
Yeah.
equipment Lewis had to lug around was much
Very
worse
heavy.
than golf clubs.
Yeah, but
95 pounds worth of equipment.
Yeah, but they would ship that as well. I mean, I have a guy there. And so I had my clubs shipped out to Lake Tahoe, and when I got there, they were sitting on a golf cart ready to go. It's really a great company. I would not suggest that anyone take their golf, especially with connecting flights, take their golf clubs through an airport. It's very difficult, tricky.
I would like to credit the lads for the job they did with this interview. I just Googled Andre Iguodala, Rasheed Wallace, and we have been aggregated on NBC Sports, Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report, Oregon Live, Sixers Wire, TheScore.com, The Spun, and TMZ.
Yes.
TMZ with the aggregation of our interview.
Exactly.
It is great content.
Well, the Joe Buck one also got headlines, right?
It did. It did. Yeah.
It did, yeah.
That was new information that Joe Buck got offered Tom Brady.
And David Wells not watching baseball for 4
No one
years.
picked that
And
up.
Stugotz talking to Justin Timberlake.
Boy.
The praise is coming in for the video department. I know the video department being trash is a joke, both real and just a bit. But y'all desperately need timestamps. What year am I living in? I can see full resolution infrared photos of a dying star, yet there's a fan that posts timestamps in the comments who does more work than 10-Day Tony and Lewis combined.
Is that guy?
Billy, you were laughing, looking in the corner with Lewis as he had to lug all sorts of equipment to Tahoe. And
They were
Stugotz.
here really late yesterday. I'll say that in their defense. I don't know if they were getting pow or what, but they were here until like almost 6 o'clock yesterday.
We make shit
Yeah.
happen, Dano, and if the fans don't like it, suck it. Wow.
I'll
Talk to the listeners
that
that fans of the show, man.
What happened?
No, Tony, no.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm tired of it.
Tony,
I'm tired of it.
Tony,
I'm tired of it.
no, Tony, no. Tony. No, that
Tired
is
of it.
not the attitude around here. No.
Stugotz has got the right attitude.
Thank you.
You say Stugotz has got the right attitude, and I know what you're saying, and he does. But what I'm saying is Stugotz is sitting here doing his job poorly, as he always does.
Thank you.
And when you say it's Stugotz's attitude, yes, it has infected the entire place. And now Tony, who has not done his job correctly, and a fan points it out, and not getting at the show at all, defensively, he says, "Suck it, fans." Say, man, I didn't do my job correctly.
My job.
You did not do your job correctly.
I mean, it is an extra service that we could provide to the audience. Essentially, it was on the live show yesterday, and what they're arguing is that we need to tell them bit by bit what's going on in the show. And yes, that would be a nice service to provide to the fans, but it's not compulsory. It's not like it's not written in Tony's job description.
We need to
write down the time codes.
We need to get better. Instead of, as a service industry in the commerce business, suck it, customer. We need to do better about
admittedly
getting the
not good customer
suck
service.
it, customer. I've done my job wrong. Is not. I've done my job less well. Suck it, customer is not the route here.
In the defense of not putting time codes on things, we put out a lot of bad stuff. And, like, if we just tell you where the good stuff is,
Right.
then, like, sometimes you'll miss the ads that pay for the bad stuff that led to the good stuff. You know what I mean?
That's even worse.
Than what I said. Yeah, that's worse than what I said.
That is not
That's
worse.
Even, it is
Coming to my
worse.
defense.
It is. It's just layers of
Trying to help
incompetence.
you here.
I'll say this in defense of Lewis. It's the second time I've been on remote with him. I didn't know him the first time. In fact, I threw him from the golf cart. But the second time around, I was really like just paying attention to Lewis and what he does and how hard it is.
He works very hard.
He works very, very hard, and he does it with a smile on his face. Like, he really does, and he makes things better, and he makes me happier. Lewis does a tremendous job, and so does that guy, Tyler, that he brought out with him. I hope I got his name right, but he was a nice guy. Had a couple of drinky winkies and started revealing everything about his life. But
We cracked Tyler open.
we
It was
really
great.
did, yeah.
Every drink he had, we got a new crazy story.
But Lewis works really hard. Does a fantastic job.
Better
He does.
than Tony, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Lewis is guys, let's go around the room.
in certain ways,
Who's better at their
yeah.
job, Lewis or Tony? I think Lewis.
Suck it.
Technically. Oh, whoa.
Stugotz also cracked open, evidently, Andre Iguodala, because the reason it's aggregated, it's just a confusing thing for him to say. It's like ball sack sports. I had to check it a couple of different times. So you're saying that Rasheed Wallace, who I really respected and admired as a player and was revolutionary for being a big guy who could shoot from distance and was long, that Rasheed Wallace, who was just an all-star a couple of times, would be better than Giannis now, who's the MVP of the league and one of the best players I've ever seen.
I think the point that he was trying to make is championship teams always have, 2 or 3 of the top 5 guys in the NBA. And I said, except the Pistons. And then he started making an argument for just how good Rasheed Wallace was. Now, Rasheed Wallace back in the day was taking, I don't know if he had 3 points. Like, was he shooting from 3, Rasheed?
Oh, yes, he was.
And he was 6'11".
No, and not only
That's
that,
what Iguodala was
Rasheed
saying.
Wallace was an obvious person they traded for that got them from team that wasn't going to win the championship to team that produced one of the greatest upsets in the history of the sport. Everybody bought in on Shaq and Kobe. And I'd be here for the idea that he'd throw out there that Rasheed Wallace was one of the best players on that court, even because, Shaq and Kobe were great, but that team malfunctioned. Mm-hmm. You can make the argument that he's the reason they won that championship team. You cannot make the argument that he's better than Giannis.
I think it's also more that in this era, his skill set would be much more appreciated.
Yes.
And I don't think that we realize just how much the limitation of our brains back then limited a player like Rasheed Wallace. Perhaps if you handed him the keys and allowed him the chance to run a team, he could show quite a lot more than he did as in his era.
This is a different discussion, and if this you could listen to it here in 10 minutes or so, or you could go to it now if it's properly timestamped. You can make the argument. We had Jamal Crawford on, and he's like, my God, I'd been a Hall of Famer if they just let me play. If I could just come down and shoot 15, 23s a game, because that's how we were playing, I'd be a Hall of Famer. You'd think that I was one of the great scorers in the history of the sport, but I played at the wrong time. So that is more plausible that Rasheed Wallace, if we'd known back then, hey, you don't just throw a guy in the post. Let him bring the ball up. It's fine. He can handle the ball that well. If Andre Iguodala is making that argument, he's still not as good as Giannis.
No, you're right. But I'm looking. I didn't realize this about Sheed, and I should have. The amount of threes he took, the amount of threes he hit.
He was one of the first.
Decent shooting percentage, and he was 6'11".
He was like, it was him and Garnett that showed us, oh, wait, they can wander out. They can wander out to the perimeter also. And what do we do? This was the first evolution of that kind of extraterrestrial that now births Chet Holmgren. I really am fascinated in what this all is going to look like 15 years from now. And when I'm an 80-year-old man and I'm watching basketball, is it going to just be 7'6" guys with pogo sticks? Everybody's bull out on the perimeter making threes and swooping in for layups. All people that you've never seen, any human being who's ever looked like them before. Like Giannis, who's playing basketball where it's like, wait a minute, that's a Nerf hoop for him?
Right.
But that's the only Shaq has done it like that, where you're like, oh, wait, he's playing in a boy's bedroom basketball. He can just go to the rim on any human being, any body type that's ever been there, evolving past LeBron, and he'll just finger roll it in because what are you going to do? He's that strong.
But the weird thing is that the game has gotten smaller. Like Rasheed Wallace was probably a power forward at the time. He played next to Ben Wallace. He would be absolutely a 5 now, but the game has gotten smaller. And that's why, again, the Holmgren thing is really interesting and why this argument is really interesting. I don't think that Rasheed Wallace ever had the off-the-dribble game that Giannis has. You basically have a cheat code. You just say
but
Giannis.
He could handle the ball, though. He could.
But he's not like Giannis go to the rim and get 2 points or two foul shots. Like that. That's not how Rasheed Wallace played. And also the defense. The defense from Giannis is staggering. And I don't think that Wallace is a good defender, but he was never like completely alter how the other team plays.
He was pretty great. Detroit was great at basketball. He was pretty great about making them great at defense because he was one of the first long ones.
I mean, Woody, you do have guys like Karl Anthony Towns winning the three-point contest. I think that was Iguodala's larger point. Like Rasheed was ahead of his time. People don't realize how great he was.
But Towns, I think, isn't good enough at defense. Like that's the issue. Is that
you're right?
The solution for a lot of issues that teams have with big men is to just keep going smaller and smaller. And so you do have to wonder every time you put a Chet Holmgren out there. Yeah, he's great at protecting the rim, but does he get treated like Rudy Gobert in the playoffs? And is he quick enough laterally, which is what Amin was telling us about, is that he doesn't have enough lateral quickness to really evolve like that out to the perimeter defensively. Yeah, he can block a bunch of shots at the rim, but he's going to look at times like he's being picked on because the small guys are now the ones that are doing the picking because of the nature of the game being so wide.
Haberstroh and Amin will join us from Summer League. I can't believe what Haberstroh said, that Chet Holmgren's going to be Tracy McGrady on offense.
Crazy.
And great defensively. I look forward to seeing how any of that plays out. Yes, but I mean, Tracy McGrady on offense. But when you talk about unstoppable offensive players, Rasheed Wallace is not viewed as that, but I don't know if I gave him a usage rate and taught him from a young age to play the way that Giannis is, go around the perimeter and give him freedom and let him lead a fast break. I don't know if that guy would have been birthed into something that looked like differently than anyone else in the league because he was one of the guys talented enough to float on the perimeter, but he wasn't the kind of unstoppable in any incarnation. When I saw this story that fooled ESPN and butt crack sports of Ja Morant saying, I would have cooked Michael Jordan, would have cooked him, but it wasn't a real thing that he said. But my thought process was, yeah, you would have, because today's athlete, there is no.
You take that back right now.
No, but there's no guardable Stugotz. There's no such thing as being able to guard any of the best players one-on-one in the sport that there is now.
Good luck guarding Michael.
No, that's correct. Of course, I'm not saying that Michael Jordan wouldn't be great, Stugotz. What I'm saying is that it's not even the quote that got Moran in trouble is not to me in any way controversial. There is no human being who's ever been formed who can guard Ja Morant if it's just you against him.
You mean the fake quote?
That's correct.
Right.
The fake quote, yes. The one.
The thing he didn't say. Right.
But I'm saying the thing he didn't say that got him in trouble is the truth. Like, I wish he had said it because it only would have been the truth.
He definitely thinks it, right? Like, it came out, the story, and John's like, yeah, I've thought that before. Because he's confident, man. That guy is uber confident.
He said that part, too. He said, like, he feels like he would have to back down to nobody. But you do realize that any of the best offensive players today, unguardable by any measure, by any human being throughout the history of time, if we're just trying to do it with one dude.
Yeah, of course. I mean, unguardable, but so are the other dudes. Meaning, you know, if it was Michael, if it was Charles in their prime, if it was Elijah Wan.
Don't get the argument confused, Stugotz. Nobody is saying here they're better than Michael Jordan in the fake quote.
Thank God.
You're being offended by it. I can see you rising up already. Don't
there's
dare
no one
say,
better.
I'm just saying that
anything.
The top 30 guys in the NBA today would not be able to be guarded by Michael Jordan or anyone who has ever lived, or anyone in any of the other planets.
Really? Top 30?
100,000 billion light years away that we discovered yesterday.
You don't think Michael would get a stop on Devin Booker? I mean, he'd get in his head. He'd climb right inside of his head.
Get a stop. I'm not saying he couldn't get a stop.
Well, that's all he needs, because Michael's going to get 10 straight. So he just needs a single stop.
I'm not saying who's better or who would
feels
win.
like you are.
You're so
very defensive.
You so
I also love
want to
that.
have the conversation that I'm not having. I'm not saying anyone's better than Michael Jordan, you asshole. Don't put me in the position of getting the controversial comment of saying anyone is better than Michael Jordan.
I mean, you did say that John Morant was right.
Thank you.
You did say that John Morant was right. You know, that he could have meant
He didn't
it.
say it.
I know, but you said that.
You said
know,
had he said it,
had
right?
he said it,
Yes, yeah.
I think he would have been right.
I could play back the tape.
And look, to be fair, I mean, John Morant did lead the NBA in drives. It's funny, when you look at shots within 5 feet per game, he's third in the NBA last season, and everyone around him is Giannis, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Domantas Sabonis, Jokic, Nurkic. Like, it's all these massive guys, and Morant at 6'3" is living around the rim because no one can stay in front of his first step. No one. He is quicker than every single person in the NBA. And so, yeah, he can say, I'd cook Michael Jordan because he's faster than him, objectively.
I'm just looking at the top 30 scorers in the NBA last year. Not that that's representative of the best players, the top 30. You have Jordan Clarkson not being able to be stopped by Michael Jordan.
I don't think that anyone listening to this would say Jordan Clarkson is one of the 30 best players in the NBA.
29th in scoring.
I didn't use just the counting stats of scoring
Well, how do
to
we
make
do
my
it?
measurement of. Well, it's Jordan Clarkson.
Good.
They're there.
Bogdanovich is ahead of him.
I don't need, and I wonder if Billy, Mike sure still maintains, and he will do it with anyone who's listening, that any pitcher from today would strike out Babe Ruth 1,000 times out of 1,000 times. And at what point do we get old enough to be able to also do this to Michael Jordan? If we can do that to Babe Ruth, at what point are we old enough to say this guy is so big and fast and everything else that he too would dismantle Michael? At what point in the lexicon of the American sports fan are people going to be saying like,
Like we treat George Mikan now?
Yes. And yes.
So you're
So
saying
Ruth played Ruth played 1920-ish.
Yeah.
So we're 2020.
So in 100 years?
Yeah, maybe 100. Maybe 100 years.
But there's going to be Stugotz reaching out from the grave to be like, he still would have made 10 straight.
Dan, don't do it. I care about you.
Brady will still be playing.
Well, we're still in Tahoe.
Yes.
Because we don't want to leave. I mean, why would you want to leave this place? Andre Iguodala is with us, a member of the Meadowlark family, also a member of the Golden State Warriors, working on his game after his round. What are you doing, man? Why are you working on the game after the round? What happened today?
When you almost kill a set of people on 3 different shots on the same hole,
Yeah.
it's best you come work on your game.
By the way, congratulations on another championship.
Thanks. I keep getting that. I keep getting congratulations, and I always respond for what? And I'm not being funny. I just forgot. Well, you mean that happened so many times? You're just like, oh yeah. That happened
Wait,
again.
you've won so many titles that you forgot you won this last one?
No, you just always say like, oh yeah, that happened again. But it's like, in our world is on to the next. It's like, what's tomorrow? We're living in that world of instant gratification, so it's a direct link to me, and I'm trying to fight it, but I can't.
Sure.
So it's all right. what's next for me? Like what other championship can I go get? So that's where my mind's been.
Right.
We were at this welcome party on Wednesday night with, I think you were there, with all the, everybody's there. And I'm just wondering, as one of the celebrities, because we walk in that room and it's crazy, Justin Timberlake, just everybody, like, are you totally comfortable in that room, or are you like, holy shit, there's a lot of people in this room? Or you just been around,
is there someone you're psyched to meet in that room?
There are the older players that I admired when I was a kid. So every time I see Smoltz,
yes,
I personally go say, hey, thank you. And
that's
it's like so weird to him. He's like, what? And I'm like, yo, I tell you this every time I see you, but I really appreciate you. When I was a kid, it was Maddox, it was Smoltz, it was Glavin,
yes.
and it was one more. I'm missing
Steve Avery.
Yeah,
man.
lefty, right?
Yeah.
Avery was. So
Yes.
Does he deserve to be named in that?
Avery does. No, Andre was a Braves fan.
Yeah,
He's a Braves fan. He'll tell you.
Right.
He deserves it.
I was a real Braves fan. Fred McGriff, David Justice,
Crime
Dog.
Yeah, Crime Dog was there, and then Dion was there for a hot second.
Ron Gant.
Yeah, Ron. Yeah. So, I don't watch baseball as much anymore, but those are my guys. So with certain guys like that, and then Charles Woodson is the other guy, because I always wanted to go to Michigan, and obviously what he did for Michigan football, certain guys like that, those are the ones I'm excited to meet.
Do you give Smoltz like a little, because you have so many titles that you forgot you won the last one? Okay. Do you give hey, you only got one?
They went like 9 times. It felt like, right?
It was like 15 times.
Yeah.
Well, they won like 15 straight division titles, I think. Yeah.
But we just won one last year, right? The year before last. When did I stopped watching baseball, but the Braves just won a title, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. What do you make of the Freddie? Are you still a Braves fan?
I don't really watch baseball like at all.
Why? It's boring.
No one does anymore.
Not that it's boring.
David Wells just told us he hasn't watched baseball in 4 years.
You're not alone.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But CC Sabathia, I'm a fan of his.
Yeah.
I see him. So
Right.
I for some reason he's always popping up on my Instagram feed, and it's all golf related.
Right.
It's nothing to do with baseball.
What's the coolest thing for you about this week and this weekend outside of golf?
What's on my mind I can't say.
Let's go.
For real though, like just getting out the house, just playing golf and hanging with the fellas.
Away from the kids.
Like
I agree.
Like literally last night. Like what's that you see it on Twitter and you see it on Instagram all the time. It's like what women think we're doing versus what we're really doing. And it's really like, what were we really doing last night? I listened to my friend, we call him 2 Live, the movie, because he's like a walking movie. He's over here and he's like 400 pounds, and he's like, the first time he came here, he said, I don't get Tahoe. I don't like Tahoe. There's not too much culture. Ain't too many of us here. I don't understand what is it to Tahoe. But yesterday he came back. He said, I don't know what I was looking at the last time I was here. He's like, this is beautiful. He said, listen, I've never been in a place where the sun is shining so bright on me.
Never stops.
And it's like, it's not cold, but it's a cool breeze. I got a jacket on and I'm not sweating.
Right.
This is amazing.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's the same day every day.
And all we did last night was tell like funny jokes and talk about
That's the best.
The way you live depending on where you grew up. Like for East Coast versus Midwest versus West Coast. And it was 2 hours of just comedy back and forth. And it's like, all right, we got to go to bed.
So it's funny because Chris Cody's wife thought he was sleeping at 11 last night. He was at a craps table at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
this guy over here, Lewis, made a rookie move and told his wife how up he was midway through a trip. Rookie move, right? You got to wait till, because we got 2 more nights, bro.
Ain't no up. It's never a up.
That's what I mean. You just tell it's going okay. That's
you
what
go
you say to the
home. You
missus.
go home with doggy ears in your pockets, inside out, stash the money.
Andre Iguodala with us. New episode of Point Forward is out right now. Andrew Wiggins, Evan Turner does the
Steve
show with
Kerr
him.
a couple weeks ago. Just,
he's had Steph on a couple of times, but this week or this episode, along with Evan Turner, we should mention, has Andrew Wiggins on it. So go check that out. It dropped today, correct?
Yes, we finally
got taping this on a Friday, just so everyone knows.
We finally got Wiggs to talk.
Right.
Wiggs doesn't talk, and all-star starter, had an amazing season, and he had amazing finals. Like he really put on a show in the finals, so it was really good to kind of hear his perspective. And a lot of people want to hear from him, don't know him too well, and I feel like he kind of opened up to us, so it was a great episode.
Did you see the meme going around the internet of Jason Tatum at a music festival, and they showed him a picture of Steph Curry as your daddy, and he just kind of was like, I respect. He wasn't upset about it. He was like, yo,
I like
did you
that.
see that? Oh, you don't see the internet stuff? It was trending a few days ago.
But I've been talking to Tatum recently, and he's a big golfer. I got to get him out here.
Yeah.
He's gotten to golf.
He's into golf?
He's big into golf. He's he wasn't playing, and now he's swinging the club every single day. And all the shooters can play. Anybody that's a good shooter, basketball player, they're really good at golf.
Is Klay any good?
Klay doesn't have the mental capacity to play golf.
What do you mean by that?
Klay would drift in life. Like Klay would just drift.
Klay likes, he's like a lazy river. Just let life take you where it takes you.
Klay can play 7 holes or he can play 14 holes.
Right.
But he can't play 9 and he can't play 18. So it's always an adventure. I've been playing with him and we got to like the 14th hole and he's like, I'm done. Klay, you might as well finish because we have to go all through the holes to get back. And he's like, nah, I'm out. And he just left. Or after 7 holes, he's like, all right, I'm out.
He seems like the funnest dude,
But
man.
he won't even say he's leaving. He'll just be driving and he'll just keep going. Klay, where you going? I'll catch y'all later.
Clay's one of those
All
guys.
right, Klay, we'll catch you tomorrow.
Like he's there 1 minute, gone the next.
Yeah.
Like of that big three,
I love
Steph
that
Curry
guy.
and Draymond get more of like the headlines, but I feel like Klay is such an interesting cat. Like, right? Like he's so like he's got a quirky, he's funny. Like I feel like I would get along with Klay Thompson. I feel like. Not that you don't know me that well, but I just feel
he'll just
that way.
take you like it's just almost
there a
as if,
question
like,
there?
just go
Well, my
out.
question was just like, give me like Klay Thompson. He gets it. He got the question.
It's hard to explain because you don't know what you're going to get. It's like it's like a box of chocolates.
Right.
There you
It's
go.
like, which Klay we getting today? But they're all good. They're all like cool.
They're all
It's like,
kinda
all right,
tasty.
Clay's not really talking today,
Right.
but he's locked in. All right, Clay's talking a lot. Clay's very retrospective today where he'll just give this long, thought out story. I'm like, oh, he thinks deep. And then other days it's like, he's talking about an Adam Sandler movie, which isn't deep, so it's different ends of the spectrum. So he's just everywhere.
Who's giving the pregame speeches in that locker room?
Pregame
Like, does it
speeches.
move
I'm
around?
guessing it's Andre a lot.
It's really either it's me or Draymond.
Right.
So it depends. So if they're kind of too loose, I gotta reel them in. But if sometimes Draymond got to light a fire on them and he'll do that. But so we had a really good balance.
Do you clash with Draymond at all? Just because he seems like the type that could clash with anybody.
No, not at all. Actually, he and I get along really well because we see
but
basketball.
it could be positive.
No, but Chris, I imagine
clash
he
doesn't always bad.
But I imagine he loves his teammates, and his teammates love him in a way that.
No, but it's Draymond and I see basketball the same exact way. So whatever he's thinking, I'm probably thinking the same thing. Now, sometimes Draymond's like challenged the call. I'm like, Draymond, you fouled the dude 3 times on one possession. They could pick any one of the fouls. You can't review it. It's a foul. So those are the only times we might disagree. But other than that, we pretty much agree on the same thing.
But how cool is it for you at this stage of your career, and Steph and Klay and Dre, where you can, like, you guys are you're winning championships for guys like Andrew Wiggins. I know he was a big part of it, but he's never won a title, and likely would never have won a title had he not joined the Golden State Warriors. He did it with Durant too. Like, that's got to feel cool for you guys.
Yeah, but we would not have won the championship without them.
Right.
Like Wiggins really put on a show.
He did.
In the finals.
Look at you smiling, man. You're so proud of him.
Because I saw it.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you're this good.
Yeah.
Because you don't see him on a daily basis if he's on an opposing team. You only see him when you play him 4 times a year. So he's like, that kid's got talent, but something's missing, blah, blah, blah. But a good amount of the time you get a guy, you're like, oh, it wasn't you. The same with Otto Porter.
Yeah.
Otto Porter got, $90 million. Everyone was saying he was the highest paid player, or he was the most overpaid player in the league, most overrated player. And then he gets on our team, and I'm like, oh, it's not you. You're really good. The situation you were in was really bad.
Right.
And so getting to see Otto, getting to see Andrew Wiggins daily, I'm like, you guys are really good at. Okay, we got a chance because you guys are going to help us win.
Yeah. Steph Curry seemed to enjoy this one more than the others. Mm-hmm. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I don't think he should have, but yeah, we're all humans.
Right.
And at some point, you just get tired of somebody just poking you, and you really can't respond the way you want to, and then you just do it the way you do on the court, and it's just.
Can I be honest? 2 of the people poking him were me, okay, and Mike Ryan. Right? Not that he's listening to us or cares about us, Mike. I just threw you under the bus, but we were. I mean, but that's what. But we were validated because that Finals MVP meant a lot to him.
But I don't think that
he didn't need it. Is what you're saying?
He didn't need it. Like Kobe didn't have Finals MVPs when Shaq was there. Shaq got 3, but Kobe was still the best player in the world.
Yeah.
And then he went and got 2. But I think Steph had amazing Finals performance, and I think now we're overlooking. We're looking too deep into games. So Steph will have 18 points, and they'll say he's not getting the Finals MVP. He played bad. I'm like, no, we won by 20 points.
Right.
He was the reason why we won by 20 points. He took all the attention.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was almost like when KD got swept by by Boston, and KD averaged 27. He had 4 guys literally guarding him every possession.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was just so happy that he could. I'm saying it for him. Kiss my ass. It was, and it's another thing that I would prefer people to do, but I can't say. But we'll just go kiss my ass.
So you played for Spo.
So great, dude.
You played with Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Put me in what that beef was like. That incident. The only time the Heat made national news all year was the incident with Jimmy. They wanted to fight each other. It seemed like
You know
at
what's
one
crazy?
point.
That
What'd
was
you make
against
of
us. That was against us.
What did you like? What? Give me the inside
So I
scoop on
wasn't
that.
playing.
He wants
so
you to take him inside.
I know you're on the other team, but I know you got the
but
inside
I
scoop.
didn't see it. I didn't see it happen in real time, and somebody was saying, "Look, something's going on over there." So I look up, and they're like pulling each other back. So I didn't know it was Spo and Jimmy, but that's.
But
Heat
just
culture.
Jimmy, like playing with Jimmy, like that could happen, right? Like what was
I
probably
think,
going on
I think
there?
more so is Heat culture. I mean, you go
Yeah.
back even farther. Like LeBron doesn't have those moments, but LeBron and Spo have.
They bumped.
They
They
bumped.
had bump gate.
They
Yeah.
bumped, and then
Yeah.
you've seen D Wade. I think him and Spo have, they've had their interactions.
Of
and
course.
I don't think it's anything like malicious, but that Heat culture is, those emotions are on 10, constantly.
Right.
They don't turn that thing off, and that's why they, I don't know if you call it overachievement. They reach their maximum every year.
Yeah.
Like the team they have goes a little bit further than they're really supposed to, and you got nothing but respect for that organization.
You want KD back?
I mean, what is KD like? Where's KD ranked in terms of his basketball skill set in the world?
You tell us. I mean, top 2, 3.
Exactly, he's top 2, and
Right.
he's probably not 2.
Who wouldn't want that, right?
So
what you're saying?
I just saw the
Yeah.
Minnesota Timberwolves decline taking KD, and that's why they're in the position that they're in.
Sure.
Because they don't understand.
Yeah.
Like Evan Turner says, I'm quoting Evan Turner. Sometimes it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes.
Right. So yes is the answer. you want
every team that's won an NBA
They
championship
should-
right.
in NBA history has had the top players, the top player on their team. Like, name a team that didn't have the best player or one of the best players in the world on their team that won a championship.
Pistons, maybe. That 1 year,
Pistons that 1 year, but Rasheed Wallace.
awesome player.
Rasheed Wallace
Yep.
probably could have been top 5 player in the league for a 10-year stretch. He just chose. I'll do my thing over here.
Right.
He was shooting threes from half court. No, he was shooting half court shots, left-handed and right-handed.
Yeah.
If Rasheed Wallace played in modern day basketball today, if he played in our league today, he'll be the top 5 player in the league.
I don't think
he'd be better than Giannis, and I love Giannis.
I don't think people realize that
Yeah.
about you, because early on you were the guy getting all the stats on a Sixers team, right? And but you chose winning. You chose winning over that.
Right. And winning's not. I don't know how to even say it. Winning's not really valuable winning's not valuable unless you win a championship.
Right.
But only.
And you've won so many, you've forgotten your last one.
But only a certain amount of teams win championships. If you think about it.
Sure.
In the NBA, it's like there's no parity. There's no parity. It's like, no. When certain teams and front offices start understanding how do you value winning, you'll start winning.
I'll tell you one thing that was valuable: us winning at the craps table last night. That was valuable. Can
Right.
we really say that? I mean, that's just we're big craps guys right now.
Y'all watch The Wire? Y'all watch The Wire?
No.
You never seen The
Oh,
Wire?
no, I have seen The Wire.
Oh,
I've
there's an
never
episode-
seen it.
I've seen it.
You never
but-
seen The Wire?
No,
The Wire
man.
is
I've
one of
seen it.
The greatest shows of all time. But there's an episode where the school teacher, the white guy school teacher, is teaching these black kids the probability. And it's hard.
yeah.
The storyline is it's hard to get kids to pay attention, especially inner city public schools. Taught them probability. These kids went back to where they're from, which is inner city, the hood, and they killed it.
Yeah.
Playing shooting craps on the side because
9 to 1. Hard
6, 7, 8 is gonna hit more often than others, and then
Yeah.
they know how to bet against it. And it's like
These guys are always betting the field. I try to tell them it's the least likely bet. The 2, the 3, the 12, the 11. It's the least likely
Probability.
combinations.
So
They
the-
love it though. They love
so
the
the
field.
language of money will always teach, is what you're saying. Like, if you teach them, hey,
Probabilities,
this could win
though,
you,
you use that in
probability that wins you
everything.
money, then
true
then-
story.
right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I get it.
Are you like a little like, hey, these guys have never seen The Wire? What the fuck's the matter with them?
Now, I'm not surprised that you haven't seen The Wire, but I'm upset because it's a cultural phenom. It's an amazing show. Like,
It is.
you
No,
got.
I've seen The Wire.
There's certain shows you have to see. You have to see The Wire. You have to see Breaking Bad.
Yep.
Right.
The Office. You have to have seen. There's certain
Yep.
shows that I feel like. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The Cosby Show was amazing.
Yep.
He's on his last leg, so I can give him his flowers. He did his wrong, but his
Right.
show
Yeah.
was to give you
Right.
the mindset that you can be African American and you can be successful. You can be a doctor. You can go to college. He's pushing that whole thing, and I'm going too far.
How many
I
more?
got you.
How many more titles? Like, when are you going to be satisfied with titles? Like, are we
Titles? There's other titles I'm trying to get now. So
okay,
that's
like
what I'm looking
like
for.
this one.
No, not even this one. It's in the business world.
Just
so,
okay.
you
Like,
know,
what interests you in business?
I always say basketball is my side hustle. That's my side
That's
hustle.
so great.
So I got a venture firm that I just started, and I've been investing in the tech space for the last 8 to 10 years, and
Awesome.
I've been investing in early stage startup companies, and if you catch one early and you ride the tailwind, you get 100x or 1,000x or whatever it may be. So it's almost like probability too. You're hedging your bets. But if you know business well, then you know how to weed out the bad companies, and then you're hedging your bets with good companies. So it's only going to come, one company can pay for all your investments and plus.
What was the best shot you hit today and the worst shot you hit today?
The best shot I hit today? Oh, my best shot was that 14? 14.
Stick it from
it was 14.
110.
I hit it too far. I hit a 3-wood. I'm hitting my 3-wood too far, and I hit it like a little draw, and it goes in the water.
The ball travels here.
Right, it goes too far, goes in the water.
Yeah.
So I had to drop, and I'm like 168 out. Hit a 9-iron,
Boom.
pin high, perfect.
Boom.
So it would
Worst
have been a
shot?
great water par, but I missed the putt. That was my best shot.
Little
though.
duff from 100 yards
The
out.
worst shot must have been the shot that went in the water that made him hit the 168.
No, it was actually a good shot. I just hit it too far.
All right, I got
The
you.
worst shot was on 18. I'm in the bunker, and I try to. It's bunker shots from like 75 yards is hard, and I shank it, and I almost killed everybody. It really went like 90 degrees right.
Right.
It went negative yardage. I think it went straight right.
We had a few of those yesterday. We know.
Negative yardage.
Is it hard? Like, it's hard to focus, right? With
Yeah.
because there's the expectation of signing the autographs, the fans. You want to be nice to them, and you are nice to them.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like, you're not playing your traditional round of golf. You know that.
Yeah,
It's
well,
hard,
I think what people don't understand is we really want to play good.
Yeah.
So we're really locked in, and it's only takes one person to be upset that you didn't sign their autographs, and then now your mind is
on that,
and then you
Yes.
swing back, and then the worst is when you get a double bogey, and like 10 people say hi, take the picture, sign autograph. And
you're pissed you got a double bogey.
One of the guys I played with was saying today, I just got a double bogey.
Yeah.
Right.
Give me a minute.
That's so great. You don't want to name
But
that person.
But they don't understand. They don't understand that the athlete dynamic where we're so competitive, and that's the beauty about golf is you're not really playing against other people. You're competing against yourself. And when you don't do well, you're not even mad that somebody else did well. You're just really upset with yourself.
Sure.
What percentage of the guys are getting after it out here? Like, who's drinking out here?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea.
Kelsey and Mahomes.
I saw Josh Allen's guy with a beer in his
I think
hand.
the hockey guy is a Yoshi.
Oshie's in the lead,
Oshie?
too.
Yeah.
He's
He's in
getting
the
after
league.
it. Let's go.
Well, was it him or I know I played with a guy. It might have
I
been
saw the
Yoshi.
guy Kevin from The Office was chugging a beer on 17.
That's my guy. I always
Yeah.
see him.
Madonna, was it? Who was it?
Who was the hockey guy? It was a couple years ago. He played it. It might have been Yoshi, but he wasn't that
Oh, the
good.
hockey guys get after it.
But he was like, "What we doing tonight? We going crazy tonight?" And I'm just like, "Nah, I'm going to sleep. Like I'm older." And then he came up the next day. He was like, "You good?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm tired." And I went to sleep. He was like, "Man, I'm going again hard tonight." I'm like, "This dude's crazy."
Not to like,
a hockey
obviously,
player.
obviously we don't want to name names, but how many times in your career have you had a teammate where it's like, we got to say something to this guy? He's going too hard. Like he's living the life that you can have fun and all, but
I think it's different.
affecting work.
It's different. It's different types.
Yeah.
Well, some guys just you got to protect them from overspending.
Yeah.
It's like, "Lo, I know you like.
Yeah.
I know you like.
I know how much that costs.
I know you like looking good, but all right, let's just cut back on that.
Dial
It's
back a
just
bit.
responsibility.
Yeah.
But in terms of like drinking, it's not too many guys that are crazy with the drinking. Like guys are getting smart. Like the less you drink, the longer your career lasts. So I mean, that's easy.
They figure it out quick. They might go like, yeah.
But you guys don't really drink as much. It's they picked up other things to.
Herbal stuff.
But the herbal's more natural.
Yeah, no, I love
It
trust
is.
me.
But it's crazy because
Legal.
I think in hockey they actually
Other toss of
provided.
Javi.
I heard they provided for the guys, which is safer. So
Yeah.
as long as you're being
That's
safe.
All right, new episode, Point Forward. Andre Iguodala, Evan Turner, Andrew Wiggins is their guest this week. It's a great podcast. Real quickly on the way out here, and we appreciate the time. Do you guys are you somewhat annoyed at times with Steph Curry and how easy life comes to him? Like, he plays golf, he's a scratch golfer. I mean, it's annoying.
Like, can you
right?
be shitty at something?
Like, you
used to
bad
be.
at something. Is he bad at something?
It used to be. I was like, yo, bro, like, what are you doing in life? Like, is life boring? Like, you don't
I'm
have
just
to-
going to shoot it from the locker room.
You don't have
before
to try at
the
anything.
game
Like,
starts.
what motivates you? Like, 'cause it's like, if everything's that easy, then are you even motivated to do anything? Like, you just pick. I seen him bowl.
What's he terrible at?
I seen him bowl like a 280. I'm
Get
like,
outta
what are
here.
you doing?
Can he like not rollerblade or
Yeah,
something?
then
What's he terrible
I
at?
seen him ping pong. I'm like, he won a ping pong team competition. I'm like, what? Then I seen him throw darts.
Right.
I was like, what is going on?
It's a 5
Can you do some digging and find out something
I
he's
figured
shitty
it out.
at?
I figured it out.
What?
Yeah, ever seen The Accountant?
Yeah. That I've seen.
That's who Steph Curry is.
What? Ben Affleck?
He might be
again?
beating his knee. He might be beating his shin late at night. But Ben Affleck, he had Asperger's, but he was an elite
Yes.
hand-eye coordination. He was
Right.
a silent killer.
Yes.
That's who Steph is. He's just a silent killer. He's
So-
good. His hand-eye coordination is might be top 2 on earth.
If you
out of
ever
8 billion people.
Can you promise us this? If you figure out the thing he's bad at, can you report back to us?
He's bad at.
Just
I know
figure it out.
I know what he's bad at.
Give it to us.
He's bad at saying no.
Well, we asked him to come on, and he said no. No, I'm kidding.
No, we didn't ask him yet. We didn't ask him yet.
He
would say no if Andre would say no.
He's not going to answer. He doesn't have the answer, so he doesn't have to say no.
We didn't actually ask him, to be fair. We're just messing around.
We didn't ask him.
He came on a podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, good luck this weekend, man.
Appreciate it.
I know you're here to play golf.
Yes.
You take it seriously. Go to sleep early tonight. Get some rest.
But I play so bad that I'm probably playing good because I'm not caring anymore.
Yeah.
I was that
There you
bad.
go.
Maybe a little craps tonight?
If you're interested,
We'll
they'll
be
be at
there.
the craps table again
Craft
tonight.
table. I might pull up.
Okay.
to be a craps table.
Chris's wife will think he's sleeping at 11,
Yeah.
and he'll be out till 5. Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Stop being the police to my guy.
Yeah, right.
Point forward, Andre Iguodala, Evan Turner, Andrew Wiggins, their guests
Yes.
this week. Go check it out. It dropped today. Thank you, Andre.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Yep.